The point is in the preaching of Jesus. Jesus is doing the kingdom. You want to know what the kingdom of God's like? Look, here it is. This is how it works. Here's a leper getting healed. Here's somebody who's been crippled for 18 years and God is straightening her out on the Sabbath day. That's what God's kingdom. I sometimes, when I'm talking about the kingdom of God, not least to young people, I will come straight in and I'll start off without preliminaries by saying, who's in charge here? And they, what do you mean, who's in charge here? Well, it's the youth leader or the pastor or whatever. And then I say, what would it be like if God was in charge? And usually somebody says, well, we'd have better coffee for a start. But you kind of clear away that sort of stuff. But the question, what would it be like if God is running the show? I was talking to some of my clergy about this a year or so ago, and one of them, who's in the town called Darlington at the south end of my diocese, came to me after. He said, Bishop Tom, he said, I've got the ear of the mayor and the city fathers in Darlington. Supposing you came and did a talk to them on what would Darlington look like if God was running it. I said, right, okay, let's do it. We had a wonderful evening. Some of them are Christians, some of them are not, in the city council. But suddenly, I had the chance to say to them, what would it look like if... And you see, people imagine that once you ask that question, you're going to be talking about a theocracy of the worst kind in which a bullying, bad-tempered God, probably acting through bullying bad-tempered clergy, is going to say, no, you can't do that. No, you mustn't do that. Stop doing this. Sit down, shut up, behave yourselves. Jesus went about bringing life, bringing hope. This is what it looks like when God's running the show. And yes, sometimes it's scandalous. He had parties with all the wrong people. And half the parables he told were not abstract teaching. They were ways of saying, this is what I'm doing. You're wondering why. The only way I can explain it is by saying, once upon a time there was a father who had two sons, and this happened, and that happened, and the other happened. The kingdom of God is coming, breaking into this world. And somehow, again and again in Jesus' teaching, the shadow of the cross was falling across the kingdom announcement. One of the difficulties in reading the Gospels, and it's a difficulty we all face in the Western world and church, is that all that stuff that Jesus did seems to get separated from all that stuff that happened to him, his death and resurrection. And we have Christians who simply take what Jesus did and they say, that's the Jesus I want to follow. I'm going to go out there into the world and feed the poor and house the homeless and do all that stuff, but don't really understand his death and resurrection. Other Christians who say, no, he died for my sins so that I can go to heaven, and I'm not really sure about doing all that other stuff. Part of my work as bishop is interpreting to one another Christians who have fallen into either side of that and helping them to get the bigger picture.